couple of her girlfriends
thank you very
over,
well.
and the American ambassador and the Turkish ambassador and the Canadian ambassador, and my wife. 3 days a week. They do a Monday, Wednesday, Friday walk at 6 o'clock in the morning. So,
well, I celebrated vicariously.
Who you did?
Vicariously, because we do ours in mature waters.
Right.
Because we want just frost on the pumpkin, not frozen pumpkins.
Not defrost the pumpkin. Hey, Andrew, what is your PTR?
That is King Tut's sarcophagus face covering that they had in the sarcophagus. my blind glasses on top of it.
Oh my God, I wondered.
That's great. We love it.
Yeah.
All right. Right, Tutty.
I didn't get it.
No. Just went right over your head.
Oh, dude.
Jane, is that person still streaming out of interest?
Yes.
Why are you asking?
Jane will tell us who it is. I have no idea.
I'm using tough love. This is a male paternalistic.
It's not tough love because you're not giving
Do your own work.
Said
Find it
this
out.
person. Huh? How am I supposed
Adrian,
to
this
know?
is good, right? Good content.
Great content, Jane.
Tell me, I'm a girl.
No, I'm not telling anyone. Figure it out on your own.
We can't figure it out because you don't understand. It's impossible to figure it out. There are a bunch of
No,
names
it
there.
isn't.
I don't know who
Because
everybody
there's
is.
been
I don't
someone-
know who's doing it. You know. This is so frustrating.
The person who told me has also told others. Put it that way. I'm not doing it because I don't feel like it. I think it's funny. So I'm actually not against it. So I'll tell you some other day. The person
Ben,
could also,
Ben,
they could also just say who they are if they're here.
Ben, you said
Yeah.
that you didn't mind, right? So we can let it go.
That I didn't mind what?
That you were on YouTube.
No, I said I did mind.
Oh, I heard that you didn't.
No. I said I did mind. It really bothers me. And I if I knew somebody was there, I would block them from the room.
Okay.
And I would throw them out. So it's like this passive aggressive thing gets really old.
Very old.
It's like, if you're my friend and you said there's a problem, but you don't want to tell me, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that?
It's drama.
Jesus.
I'm sorry, but it is.
Ben, I've got an idea. Just mod me.
Yeah.
He's got an idea. We're gonna find out. Did he choose correctly?
Thank you. There you go. You're modded, Rohan.
Thank you. Let me try something out here. Let's see. I've got a feeling.
There he goes. He got me. He got me. He got me. So funny. Look at him when he gives a fuck.
A slow, ballad. He was talking about, some girl he missed or something like that. I don't know. It was like and I was just like, but she was just like, yeah, but Daddy, I'm not sad. It's just making me emotional. I don't know.
John will lean into those hormones. Lean into those hormones, baby. Lean in.
I'm just like, well, first of all, part of it was like super cute because like she's always like, way wiser behind her ear. Like she just constantly like has these moments where she shows me she's 15. And then the other part of me is like, oh shit, do you know what it's actually gonna be like when she's 15? I'm gonna have so many daddy cry moments, man. Oh, but yeah, man, it was a very fun, cute little thing. Dude, I think the thing about the Holy Spirit, like I know you think that like I'm blasphemizing or whatever, but I am having a little bit of a fun with it. But I also think that there's some merit to it, and I think I think there's merit, and I think it's. Let me explain why. Like let me actually get to the practical piece. I think what happens is, as like you learn about Jesus, like I remember this, like like Jesus was sold to you in Catholic school as like literally a cartoon character. He's like an anime character, you know, like the way they like present him, the Bibles they give you, these pictures they show you, these stories they tell you, and you're like, yo, dude, fuck He-Man, I got Jesus, you know, like fuck this He-Man underwear that I got.
Oh man, you know why they present him as a cartoon character?
No, I don't. Tell me
They're
why.
presenting him to kids, John.
Didn't want to step on the joke. I still almost did it. But dude, so anyway, they package up the cartoon character, and then what happens is there's not a good character. Like the Holy Spirit isn't as good of a character. Like the Holy Spirit is like the little fat boy from Slytherin. You know, like he's not Harry. You know what I mean? Like he's just not a compelling character. And so he gets no love. Even though he's the one who like, all right, bad example with this fat boy from Slytherin. He's more like what's Harry's little butt
Hell,
buddy's name
John.
that bangs
Hell.
Hermione?
That's where you're going. Hell.
Hey, Patrick, help me. Patrick, help me real quick. Who's the little redheaded boy who bangs Hermione?
Ron Weasley. Come on.
Ron Weasley.
Ronald Weasley, thank you.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake. I know. I feel embarrassed that I don't know that. Or it's slipping my mind. But like,
Okay, you
he's
don't
like
know
Ronald
because you're a
Weasley.
movie watcher, and the director hated Ron Weasley, so he took all of Ron Weasley's parts and gave it to Hermione in the movies.
See?
Yeah,
You see what I'm saying? Dude, he is the Holy Spirit. Oh my God. He is the Holy Spirit. He's the perfect man. I didn't even know this.
Yeah, that's it. That's why you don't. That's
Just
why,
know.
as someone who just watches the movies, you don't know who he is.
Of course, because I'm a loser. But here's the thing, like the Holy Spirit is just like this overlooked, like he's like the guy who doesn't get the promotion. He's like the guy whose lines get taken. He's like the guy whose girl gets banged by the
Wait,
producer. It's
John,
just like,
are you realizing that in a universe where you have the boss and the boss's son and the guy that does all the work, it's the boss's son that gets the credit? Are you just learning this now? Is this an epiphany to you?
Thank you. What I'm realizing is that the Holy Spirit was also a victim of this particular, you know, like just atrocity. And I think that it should be right-sized. And they tell me I'm going to hell for this. I tell them I'm going to hell for a bunch of other reasons. But my thing is, I don't think I'm going to hell for this. I think if I get into heaven, right, it's going to be like the Holy Spirit's like, yo, listen.
I also think, John, that
you did me a solid.
a Catholic would believe that if the Catholic Church didn't annul your marriage, you're going to be going to hell because anytime you have sex, it's adultery,
Yeah.
right?
But hold on a second. Let me finish this thought. So I think it's this cartoon packaging and the fact that, like, Ron Weasley is just not as compelling of a character as baby Jesus Harry Potter. And so he just hasn't gotten the love. He hasn't gotten the holidays. He doesn't get the, you know, he doesn't make the same amount of money. He has to do more work, and he has to watch baby Jesus steal his girl. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just the entire, like, even when Hermione's with Ron, she still's kind of giving Harry the wink, you know? Just like, so I just think that that's why, like I just think it's been this bad, like, sort of formulation of a story that should be corrected, and we can. It's only 2,000 years in, right? Humanity should exist for a lot longer, and we can change the trajectory, like you and me, but mostly you.
So
What say you?
if
What
we were to make a day for the Holy Spirit, what day would it be, and how would you commemorate the Holy Spirit?
Oh, it's obviously October 31st.
Oh, I don't know. Now I'm thinking you're going to hell like Jen said.
Wait, I'm not believing in the, like, pagan, crazy, you know, devil belief. I'm saying, see, this is where you go wrong. I'm saying we can make Halloween an actual holy holiday.
Well,
The
it
holiest
is.
of
It's All
spirits.
Saints Day. It's November 1st.
I mean, depending on where you are on the planet, you know. Like, hold on a second. So, Jensa, can you please, like, respond? Like, can you open your mind and heart to this plausibility of me actually, like, right-sizing the story that's been mistold because they were trying to package it up for kids? Please, just some feedback. Even if you just come off mic and just don't say anything because you're speechless. All right, got it. Well, Mohan, I'm glad we agree about this thing, and I appreciate your support.
I wasn't even necessarily saying I agreed. I was just saying
You're
actually
basically
the game
the apostle. You're the apostle Paul right now. You are literally leading. Like you are the head. You're the head acolyte right now.
Listen,
White Patrick is like the third.
I'll take a
right
John
now.
He's
over
down,
Paul.
down in Thomas.
Oh, you're tepid, man. You're tepid on this one. The thing is, you know I'm right, but you're like, fuck, I need there to be a crowd so I can.
No, Patrick knows the only way to go to hell is to blaspheme the Holy Spirit, and he's keeping his mouth shut.
Alright, well, I think where the Holy Spirit is, like, right now, he's listening to this and he's like, dude, you're not.
What if the Holy Spirit is like a universal force, like gravity or electromagnetism, right? And that is the component that's everywhere?
Or just like, like dark matter. That is, the Holy Spirit is dark matter.
Or the Wizard of Oz.
What is the Holy Spirit?
Why you have to clown us, man?
Hey, John, I got you, bro. Look. So the Holy Spirit, whenever he's recognized or addressed in the Bible, he's very, very humble. And he's like, nah, you think I'm cool? Check out this dude, Jesus, So that's why.
No, but I thought they're the same person. So he's really just hyping himself up. He's like DJ Khaleding himself.
That's why it's the Trinity, John. You got three components here.
Look, all I'm saying,
Tidwell, one of the components is getting the fucking shaft. Okay? No little kids are getting fucking gifts on Holy Spirit, miss. No, how many gifts did you get on Holy Spirit Miss Day?
Bro, that's a fucking dope rap. No kids getting gifts on Holy Spirit.
Holy Spirit Miss? Yeah, run with that shit. Write some bars.
It's a Holy Spirit miss. Get Holy Spirit miss. Gifts on Miss Day, Chris.
Bars, son.
Hey,
bars.
John, I know you're going through this like existential religious crisis, but if you want, I could put the Holy Spirit in you.
Man, come on, man. I took off my shirt for one fucking day, and you want to fuck me, man? Come on. That's not cool. Put my shirt back on.
Listen, I was asking you for a date, and how we specifically commemorate the Holy Spirit. Now I'm just putting the game plan down, and you're criticizing. I've not heard any statements yet as to how one commemorates the Holy Spirit.
All right. So we're going to start with the Latin community and the gay community. So we're going to hit up, like, fucking Dia de Muerte, and we're going to hit up Grindr all in one little batch. That's what we're going to advertise. Hell yeah.
You're gonna get 100% of the Latinx community.
It's like, you know what's funny about the Latinx thing? The first time I saw it, I thought it was a gay Latin thing. I didn't realize it was like Latin, any kind of Latin.
Oh, dude, it was.
Honestly, for real, I know you think I swear to God, I'm not like clowning. I'm not trolling right now. I literally thought it was like Latino, gay Latino.
No.
Shit I didn't know.
It's all Anglo-Saxon women who went to Ivy League schools, like white-splaining to Hispanics why they should change their entire cultural identity for them.
Yeah, dude. How did the world get tricked into these curriculums and degrees that are just they're just like made up,
like what? What are some examples?
Gay Latin, like women's studies.
Anthropology is a useless degree, Patrick. Gender studies is is beyond useless.
I'm sure you can find uses for these degrees. Come on, guys.
Speech communication.
We're beginning to see the rejection of DEI and woke stuff. It's happening on a pretty large scale.
No, but how did they trick the fuckers in the 70s to begin with?
So, John, I'll push back on communications. Communications is actually a really good minor. So if you have to minor in something, getting good at public speaking and learning how to present people is actually a really useful minor.
No one needs to go to college to get good at that.
No one needs to go to college for fucking anything these days. You can learn everything yourself.
I know, but if you were to throw up some hierarchy of acquirable skills, right? And you were to put math on one end and medicine on the complete left end, and, I don't know, some electrician shit like trades, right? those things you could learn on your own, but those are probably harder to learn on your own than just learning how to fucking, present the topic. That's not a very difficult skill to acquire. But forget that for a second. What I'm hitting at is, how did these things actually become degrees in the first place?
Because the federal government.
How did these things?
Yeah, in 1992, they made it. They reintroduced slavery. The Democrats, Joe Biden specifically, and they made student debt the only non-dischargeable form of debt. And then the moment that happened, all of the bullshit that you see started happening. Like, the only type of slavery allowed in America is your non-dischargeable student loan debt.
How is that slavery?
Because literally one of the defining characteristics of America that made it unique from everywhere else is that there wasn't multi-generational debt and that you were capable of engaging in bankruptcy whenever you wanted to restart.
Student loans are multi-generational.
They are.
That's untrue.
But I didn't
No,
say
they're
they
not.
were. I didn't. You are hearing what you want to hear. I said
You just said
what made America different than other countries, was part one, it didn't have multi-generational debt, and as an individual, you can do bankruptcy and discharge your debts.
total and utter lie, Mohan. Bankruptcy was invented during the era of the railways so that banks wouldn't have to. That's not early America. That's like mid-1800s.
I think
So that is not what made America different.
1776, let me see, and then 1820. Oh, it's like 50 years. Before the Civil War, I would say that's early America.
That's not what made America different.
I'm glad you have an opinion.
It was not. Well, you just stated yours. Like, that's not what made America different.
Okay, great.
America
Yeah, so we both agree we have
bankruptcy had
opinions
nothing
and we
to do.
disagree on them. I don't see why you're so
Bankruptcy had
triggered.
nothing to do with early American history. It was invented for the railroads.
Okay, great. So, to finish my statement that John said disagrees with on an opinion level,
Because I have the facts. I actually knew when it was created. You thought it was created in 1776.
no, I didn't. I didn't say that. I just said what makes
did.
America different.
What made America different was that at its founding.
Yeah. Okay, great. Great. I apologize for the word founding, and I understand the autistic nature necessarily of every single word I use in a sentence when you're in the room.
It's a different reality. You understand that, right?
I amend my statement with the word founding and apply the statement 50 years after the founding, and I'm glad that we have a common understanding now.
Okay. Go on. So tell me how it's slavery.
I'm not going to continue while you're here, but you're welcome to continue with whatever you want to talk to.
You said it was slavery, Mohan, so I'm asking you to explain.
Yeah, I know, I'm done.
Like, don't be a cock.
I'm not, dude. I'm just not here to be fucked with you. I'm having a good morning. We were talking with John, and I'm not going to play word police at 11 in the morning. So
That's such a diminution of what just happened. You were wrong. I showed that you were wrong.
With you. Dude, the fact that I agreed with you.
Okay, so continue. How is it slavery?
I don't understand what the fuck's going on right now, but I'm not having fun and I'm not doing it. But I literally agreed with you, and now we're arguing about how I agreed with you, which is exactly the point that I'm saying.
No, we're not. I'm asking you how it's slavery. You said it was slavery. That's the
I know.
How
I'm
is
done.
it slavery?
Talk to someone else.
Well,
What a little bitch.
For the record, you did say that it was a lie.
Please
And
don't scroll.
just because he might have been mistaken about that one point doesn't mean that he was lying. Lying involves intent, right? So
He didn't have any knowledge of the thing he was discussing.
Patrick, it happened in 1823 and not 1778, and you're a fucking lying piece of shit, and your entire argument is invalidated now because I'm not going to let you proceed until after you make your statement, and then say, hey, Mohan, by the way, it happened in 1886, not 1776.
Your statement was incorrect, Mohan. Like, that's when you make a statement in an argument and you're shown to be wrong.
Cool, dude. I'm going to go make money and hang out with people I enjoy.
Oh my God, what a little bitch.
hey, Joseph, can I ask you? I have a religious question. And
He left.
Yeah.
He left.
He's a bitch. He's a little bitch.
You bullied him off the stage, and
I didn't bully him. I didn't bully him. He was wrong.
He's almost
He literally
bullied someone that might have an actual reach advantage on you, which is amazing.
He literally misstated something. I called him on it, and then he bitched out.
I have Patrick, after you're done, I have a follow-up question, but go for it.
Yeah, so I just realized I was thinking about like my Methodist upbringing. Why do I have to say in whatever the part of the church service, we used to have to say, I believe in the Holy Spirit, the Holy Catholic Church. If I'm Methodist, why do I have to say that I believe in the Holy Catholic Church? That was part of the, preamble. Or whatever you call it.
Because that's what I call paperwork. What do you mean?
Because it's what?
Nothing.
So the meaning of Catholic in the context of capital. No. Do you want the explanation? Do you want the explanation? I'm happy to explain it.
It's a
The meaning of Catholic.
We don't want the explanation, Joseph. The fucking phrase "suck my dick" was created for niggas like you. You see, Mohammed was wrong, but he would have stayed if he just uttered "suck my dick." He would have felt a lot better, and then this would have been okay.
The Holy Catholic Church is the universal church. It's a creed.
Okay, so yeah, Catholic means universal. So when it's capital C, it's universal, or lowercase c, it's universal. When it's capital C, it's the church itself.
And I got that wrong on a test.
Wait. Capital B, Bitcoin means what? And lowercase b, Bitcoin means what?
Fuck out of here, you B-casher.
Okay, I still want to know, does anyone have any idea why he thinks that student loans are debt or are slavery?
Because it's unforgivable.
It's servitude.
Because it's undischargeable. All right, that's not a good one. Sorry. I tried.
And by the way, Patrick, you
actually know the argument. You know what his argument is.
Yeah, but that's why it mattered that it wasn't at the. That's why it mattered that it wasn't at the founding. That's why bitching out was such a stupid move.
What don't I get to?
You don't get to be a little Mohan's little cock-sucking little
that would never be the case. No. When you said
I didn't say he lied. I said it is a lie. I said it is a lie. It's going to be semantic. I said that's a lie.
You did. Yeah, you did. You said that's a lie. But
we all know.
Yeah.
You said this smart enough to know the trigger words. Shit. We know what he's doing, son. Just that you thing. We are emotional beings. We don't have to reason. We don't think.
Well, here's the thing. Mohan hadn't thought to use the lying argument until Patrick gave it to him. So he wouldn't have left. It's actually Patrick that drove him out.
Oh, this is on me. Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
It's always a white man's fault.
that was good, and it stung a little bit. Oh man, how am I?
I'm sorry, Patrick. I don't like making fun of you, but this is a great joke. You know how I make fun of myself a lot? Yeah. It's kind of one of those things. You know? I don't like when other people make fun of you. Yeah. But no one else really makes fun of you. It's just Jensen. Just me and Jensen.
Dr. Patrick, if you want to shake it, you have to move it in a black neighborhood.
Joseph, you don't know where I live.
I know you live in a white neighborhood.
Your neighbor is black.
Here's what he knows.
Yeah,
he knows that if you live in a black neighborhood, then you have a lot of rich black neighbors. That's what he knows.
You just make so many assumptions.
No, I'm just kidding, man. I'm just kidding. I don't think I wish it wasn't Patrick, but I like this joke, so it's like I can't. But it's it's fucking torture.
Johnson,
It's
I
like
have a follow-up question for you.
For me?
No, I said I got a follow-up question for Johnson.
Oh, okay.
The whole premise of that was what makes America special. My question to you is, in your opinion, what makes America special?
Well, what made America special was that the people that voted other people into power were exclusively landowners and the people that put money into the treasury.
Do you feel like we should go back to, or do you feel like the most fair way of voting and consensus on how things should be managed should be people who have land, and they should be given voting power?
I think it should only be people that are net contributors to the treasury.
So, June says, I don't. Okay, this is why I don't agree with this. If they're gonna make it hella hard to own land, if that's the case.
No, you said that.
I don't. Huh?
Jimmy, he said anyone paying taxes essentially can vote.
Well, everybody pays tax.
No. There's some people that get. There's some people that get like they get money from the government, and there's some that contribute.
Still, everybody pays
net
tax.
to the government.
Even the people that get money from the government.
But he said net treasury, like he like you give more than you take in.
We don't have the mechanisms to track that. It's too much.
We do. We just choose not to.
Sales tax, like we can't. So like now we have to track every single expense.
Jimmy's getting sensitive because he's a stay-at-home mom and he's net negative.
Believe it or not,
I don't think we should pay moms.
Don't worry, you can convince your wife who to vote for. It'll be all right.
That's true. That'd be great.
Yeah, she gets one
It's
vote.
very simple. It's very simple. Like, if you are not a net contributor before sales tax, if you want to vote, you'd have to track all your sales tax expenses.
You know when people get to tactical, like how would you ever make?
Wait a sec. Wait, Jimmy. Sales tax are not at the federal level. Just realize that.
Well,
so no, you don't have to worry about sales tax.
But hold on, Jimmy. No, it's not that. These are when you get into tactical levels about like high level strategic conversations, they just undermine. Like there are ways to figure out how to do this. I don't think it's a good way to vote, but it's that's fine. But just like the idea that like you couldn't implement this for it to not be a reason that should is a really bad argument.
Yeah, you could implement it. It wouldn't be hard.
I don't think it would be hard at all.
I got a question, Junta. If you're getting paid by the government as a government employee, is that considered? And how does that factor into this formula?
Tactics.
I've wondered that myself.
It would be nice if it'd be cool if like all government employees, for instance, like given like the most fair system of how money is distributed, aren't allowed to then vote on how that money is distributed.
If you're going to be a public servant, either you don't get paid or you don't get to vote. That's your sovereignty.
I agree. I think that's a radical idea, Dave. But
they shouldn't pay taxes.
The whole political system would turn into PO.
I would actually agree. John, that's probably the solution. They probably their
taxation
income
and representation.
Their income ought to be untaxed.
They're just mercenaries. Like I'm not kidding, by the way. They should just be treated like mercenaries, effectively.
I'm not kidding.
You're hired help.
I think you solve that problem just by not taxing their income. So that's actually the answer.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting solution to the thing.
But hold on, I don't agree with this proposition. So just because I'm giving you the ideas on how to make it happen doesn't mean I agree.
John, we're gonna have to put you in the cabinet when we do this. Now that you come up with the idea,
I'm out of the closet. I don't know why you're trying to put me back in.
No, but that actually is the answer. Why would a government employee pay taxes? That doesn't make sense. It's coming directly from the treasury.
It's a more efficient
the most efficient way to distribute that money is to not.
Whatever. Just like it's a round trip. It's just like you're literally just wasting.
It's so stupid.
Well, now it's important to note. It's important to note that I was gonna make a Joe Biden corruption joke.
Met you at a party.
But hey, Jenseth, the reality of it is this:
Met
like
you at a party.
the landowner, taxpayer, Your take on it is what are the decisions that are being made? Oh, you're basically deciding how to spend the taxpayers' money, and so only contribute.
Yeah.
So how about the guy who barely contributes? Like he's paid $7 in net taxes, and then Jeff Bezos pays $32 fucking billion in taxes. It's just like how does that shake out?
Your vote is weighted in how much tax you pay.
Seven people decide. 7 people decide the country.
I think it's like honestly sort of like net contributions over life. I don't think that you'll have anyone doing $7, but you'll have people paying less and people paying more. But the point is, the point is
concentrate wealth and power because those people will have more representation. They'll have more wealth. They'll essentially be the only fucking taxpayers.
You don't have, John. I'd rather those people be making the decisions than house moms who have absolutely no idea what the fuck they're voting on because they're retarded.
Well, then in that case, at least give me 5 years to become a net taxpayer, please. Can you give me a 5-year?
The goal is not in a republic. The goal isn't to let everybody vote. It's to let the people who will most likely vote for more freedom for people to vote.
And have
The
a
fact that
Senate,
everyone
we have a
gets to
Senate
vote.
and a Congress that both sides of which have eviscerated those freedoms for the last 40, 50 years.
Do you know why?
Because the Democrats.
Because everybody's fucking voting.
My British friend is listening to us talk, and he's like, you know what? It doesn't fucking make sense for the government to pay its employees just to take some back in taxes. And I think we're onto something here, guys.
It's obvious that that's true. Like, that's obviously
It's just
correct.
like it's a drop in the bucket, man. It just is like not. It's like not a material thing in the budget. It's
No, not about the money. It's not about the money, John. It just doesn't make sense.
It's not an efficiency. I get it.
Like, it's absolutely insane. Like, if you're in the military, I don't think you have to pay taxes on that money.
What about a threshold that is maybe a threshold that is like voted
Sure.
on?
Say someone has to be $100,000 to net contribute.
Is this gameable? Is this like a bad idea? You just keep voting that limit higher and higher? I think it would have to be.
The people that get to vote will just make it higher, so there'll be less people.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It would be gameable. You'd have to make it where the threshold would be low and every vote would be counted equally after some threshold. You wouldn't want to do a weighted thing. That would be like crazy.
Some people who are,
relies on
the people who pay
voting. The only thing voting impacts is the Treasury, and the reality is that's not what you have in America.
Yeah, because of fiat. That's my entire problem with fiat is that fiat makes everyone a net contributor.
Just that for president, you'd be more entertaining than President Camacho, an idiot.
But I think you should no longer be
I'd also know
voting
more
on social issues.
I'd also know more about crops. Like, I don't think that the electorate can sustain this country, given how stupid a majority of them are.
Hey, Jensen, can we do net contributing states? And the only ones that get electoral votes.
You know what's funny about that? That's such, like, you keep saying that you don't repeat democratic tropes, but that's literally like a democratic trope.
If I were, in the event that it is, I want you to know it's incidental. I did not even know that was the case.
Yeah.
Can you repeat that, John? What was it?
What I'm saying is, to take Jensen's idea one step further, I think we should only count electoral votes from states that are net contributing. So I think Illinois would not count if I'm not mistaken, but I have to check that.
I don't think that makes sense because then, because you can be a net contributor to the federal government. That's what we're talking about, not the.
No, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about so if you are taking money from the federal government, right, to fill your budget, right, to fill your unfunded mandates, etc., versus those that are having surpluses and and don't take money from the federal government and get bailed out, which is effectively what happens. And honestly, it probably, you know what the truth is? There's probably, and I guess there's probably a couple different ways that you would look at that, right? Like, okay, is the state, like, tax-based? Like, are they, like, right, do you look at, like, how does the state take money from the federal government, or do you talk, like, would you look at it in terms of, which I think is what Jim Seth is sort of pushing back on now that I think about it, is like, is it, do the citizens of that state, do all the citizens of Mississippi collectively pay more into the federal government or take more from the federal government, right? And that might be a different way to do it. But anyway, I don't think it's that much different. Like, I think it's pretty in line with the same idea.
I think it's usually different. It's usually different because, like, I think that if you did, like, here's the thing about, like, conservative states that are different than liberal states. If you gave the conservative states a vote that was like, we are no longer going to take a penny from the federal government, but as a result, everyone in the state is going to have to return to horse and buggies. I bet you I bet you in a conservative state, they would vote for that.
Maybe. Maybe. It's an odd hypothetical, but it's like, who wants to go back to the 1830s?
Whoa, is that
That's what I'm saying. Like, if that's
it's like Oregon Trail. When was Oregon Trail?
just because my point is that just because the population or just because the politicians take money from the federal government, it doesn't mean that the populace thinks that's a good idea or wants that to be done.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think that's fair. But also, I'm saying the other way to look at it, in terms of the kind of like, do the collective, citizens of whatever, Illinois, like, do they contribute more or do they take more from the federal government? Like, when you just like think like all of us, like all the net taxpayers that are paying in, and all those that are just getting aid or whatever.
Then you just be ruled by Silicon Valley.
It'd probably be New York and California and Florida, probably. You're right. Maybe techno.
Not even that. It would be Silicon Valley. Because think about it, like like you have someone who makes $80 billion.
I'm talking about states. So it'd be like, and I bet you would probably, you can look this up, but I bet you would be like New York, California, Texas, Florida, like maybe Arizona.
The favorite trope of the left right now is that all the right-wing states take more money than the left-wing states, and the left-wingers are not contributing.
I need you to know, I swear to God, like, whether or not that's true.
I believe it enough. I believe it enough to tell you what the trope is. So
I'm just saying it's not what. Like, I'm not repeating what. I swear to God, that's not what.
I understand. That's why I'm telling you. I'm telling you what the trope is, because that's what like the left has been saying now for years, that we contribute more, and I was like, yeah, but like no one cares. If the right could like excise all of the money that the left gives them, they would, because they just want to be left alone. Oh my God, the Supreme Court took up the Snopes. I think it's a Snopes case. Yeah, it's the AR-15 case.
Right. Excuse me.
Stand more.
It's basically whether AR-15s can be banned or not.
Interesting.
There are so many courts that are about to get spanked. Like, the language in this brief are gonna be just ridiculous.
I don't know in what world it legally makes sense that they could be, according to your laws. Like, they're super.
David, you should read the brief, the Scopes brief. It's hilarious. The brief is like, somehow every court with the AR-15 has decided that like all of the tests of Heller are not compatible with this firearm, and like it's just chastises them up and down.
Dave, it's not so much ban the AR-15, but ban all the parts and say they're assault weapon attachments or features.
Yeah, but that is in effect banning the AR-15. Like, I don't know.
No, but
even
that's
that.
what I'm saying they do. That's how it looks like. You ask how would they? That's how they do.
Yeah.
They're about to get spanked on this, like, lowers, the partial lowers, too. The best point in the entire, like, trial was brought up. Like, I don't think the federal government understands that they're, like, on a course to have the NFA completely dismantled.
Please do. I just want to get suppressors. No problem.
Everybody does. The entirety of the suppressor, like, law is based on the fact that in James Bond, the weapons go pew pew when they're fired with a suppressor.
They don't do that.
Well, everyone on your side believes they do, John. Are you on their side still? I don't even know.
John said he is not on their side. He's a Republican. He's kicked out Libs from the room yesterday. Like, he's a new man.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I'm definitely not one of those. unless you're talking about like a 1980 Ronald Reagan version, then yeah, I guess you can call me one of those. All right, man.
Can I finish? Can I finish the school?
Oh yeah, please keep going.
Can I finish the school loan thing?
Yeah, by all means.
No, I think we all interrupted. I was just gonna say that the reason that it matters whether it was the founding or not is because if in fact the non-dischargeable debt was a thing that was around long ago, I don't think it was considered part of slavery. It was the standard for debt before we invented bankruptcy. So I want to hear an argument that doesn't.
We literally had indentured servitude as like a financial system.
Sure, which wasn't slavery either. It was indentured servitude.
It was a really bad contract.
Yeah, so non-dischargeable debt has never been regarded as slavery. It was the standard for debt before we invented bankruptcy, and it's interesting. Like, I want to hear the argument, and it matters when it was created, because if it was like in the early American period, like 1776, when they signed it, they said.
If you didn't hear the argument, you wouldn't have left.
Yeah, that's why it mattered whether it was at the founding or not, and that's why him being wrong mattered also.
Save the energy for baby girl.
Alas. What's that?
Save the energy for baby girl. You know what I was thinking for OPSEC reasons? You should have just called her Lamarla. Remember when I gave you Lamarla?
That was so funny.
We were coming up with names for her, like Lamarla.
Dude, I have to take a picture of her with the Peter Todd as Satoshi. I got a onesie for her.
That's funny.
It says Peter Todd on it, and I gotta take a picture. Thank you, Peter Todd. This is your namesake. This is my daughter, Peter Todd. You feel stupid now, Dr. Patrick, for kicking Mohan out of the room?
Wait, what? Someone kicked Mohan out?
No, Dr. Patrick ushered him out.
Nah, he just stormed out.
I was gonna say Patrick's white. He didn't kick him out. He ushered him out. He welcomed him out.
You welcomed him out.
Patrick,
He said,
I didn't know you're doubling as a bouncer now.
He waved his top hat. He waved his top hat down. He like did a little fold, like a Jimmy Cricket fold.
Listen here, chap.
He said, "Please, sir, why don't you take my hand and walk with me outside?" That's what he said.
Let me have a word with you, sir.
What I missed? What happened?
Would you oblige me for a word?
Mohan lost an argument. Instead of actually finishing the argument, he just bitched out and
I
left.
think no. That's not what happened. It was how he lost.
What's up with this?
It was how he lost, nigga.
Over here.
It was how he saw it happen. There's one thing knocking the nigga out. There's another thing knocking him out, and he's asleep, you pee on him. That's what you said then. You are a disrespectful nigga, you said.
Jimmy, he didn't even know he'd lost.
I actually walked in the middle of it. But I could fucking tell by the tone of your voice, you were peeing on the nigga.
Please don't say
I hadn't knocked him. I was peeing on him, but he was still standing. I hadn't delivered the knockout blow yet. I was waiting for it, but he wouldn't finish the argument.
I'm just trying to become a big content creator one day, but I have no supporters. So if you have the chance, please subscribe.
Whether student loans are because they're non-dischargeable, whether they're slavery.
I see.
It's also funny for a libertarian.
I'm not even sure any of that.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, you choose it. You opt into it. You know that it's non-dischargeable. You know that it's non-dischargeable when you opt in. Yeah, you know.
You can choose to eradicate it.
You know that it's non-dischargeable when you sign the contract for it. Like, there's 4,000 reasons it's not slavery.
John said, would you agree if you paid 100% taxes, that's a type of slavery?
No.
Alright, explain that.
Why do I have to explain? Why do I, like, you're the one that made the claim.
I'm asking a question. I thought you would have said yes.
I I think slavery is very specific. I think when
you made an assertion and you asked him to explain why your assertion is not.
I'll do it. Give me a sec. So my assertion is that if you don't own any of the fruits of your labor, like 100%, it's a type of slavery. That's my assertion.
Okay, well then isn't paying taxes 37% slavery in that assertion?
Yes.
What about 10%?
Yes, 10% slave.
What about 2%?
Yes, 2% slave.
What about 0.5%?
0.5% of a slave.
Well, okay, then I guess you believe paying taxes is slavery.
Yes.
I wouldn't accept that.
Well, I would say it's on the spectrum. There's a threshold of slavery that everyone's okay with.
There's a spectrum here.
Tidwell, what if it's voluntary? What if you say, I will work for you forever for
You're
nothing?
a voluntary slave.
There's no such thing.
Oh,
That's
servitude.
You're stuck in a quagmire. Slaves
dry water like that.
Slaves don't choose, bro. That's not how that works. So you basically by virtue of agreeing to the circumstances, by choosing to work in said territory, you're not a slave. Like, I'm agreeing to pay these taxes to work here for this income. And if I don't like it, I fucking move.
Yeah, but would you say that you have an option to move and get to a place that
of course you do,
wouldn't
nigga.
pay taxes?
Don't you earn income? So if you're valuable enough to earn income in America, you could use said skills to earn income elsewhere. Go to Africa, go chop trees somewhere, nigga.
Y'all make a pretty good argument. I'm not pretty religious. I'm not gonna die on this hill. I think y'all are convincing me off of it.
No, but you can just tell you've been hanging out with a particular crew of humans.
Hey, John, that was an original thought. What are you talking about?
I know. It was originally thought that
No.
11, 12, 13, 15, 17,
No. Hey, listen, y'all have some good points. Jimmy and Johnson had some good points. Thank you.
My God.
Was a tiny front.
It wasn't
Jimmy's
that
like,
hill
you can't choose.
that I
He's
felt
like,
religious
okay,
about.
I think it was concave. I actually think it was a pothole. I don't think it was.
It was more just like I brought up the topic of I helped spear the topic of taxes earlier, and I was trying to see if I could spear another interesting topic for people to debate while I listened.
Unsuccessful attempt.
All right, another topic attempt. Johnson, what do you think about the Ashkenazi Jews?
See, this is what I know about niggas like Tidwell. See, niggas like Tidwell likes to divide before he conquers.
Did he add two syllables there? Did he say that correctly?
Tidwell, I see your division you sowed amongst us.
Hey, Michael, can you say that one more time?
Dude, Tidwell's in Georgia.
He's saying it in
Tidwell's in Georgia. He has a little black.
Oh, okay.
Ashkenazi.
John, you told me to call you. I do, and you don't answer.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I have my ringer off. I didn't realize that. I was just trying to save you from this conversation. I was just doing that as like a lifesaver.
No, I see.
Are you good? Do you need me to do that again?
Johnson, what do you think about the Freemasons? I went in a little bit of a Freemason dive last night. Got a little weird.
Well, what do you think about the Ashkenazi Jews?
So the first time I heard that phrase was from. Do you remember that skinny white kid that did the podcast, the Bitcoin Meister? Do you remember him? Do you know what I'm talking about?
If they talked about UTXOs, Jimmy definitely has no idea.
Adam Meister, he's the first one that said that phrase, that I learned about that phrase. And he was trying to say that the Ashkenazi Jews are the smartest race ever, and he was getting so much shit about it. And I was like, what is this? And he was trying to say he was this, so he was smart or something, where he could, whatever, be of a position of authority. I can't remember exactly. But then the funniest thing I remember was on his YouTube live stream, he said, smash that like button. And in the comments, someone said, smash that dislike button. And this was back when YouTube counted the upvotes and downvotes. His downvotes like skyrocketed to like 200-300 downvotes like immediately. And I just thought that was the funniest thing. So I'm just gonna.
I mean, we can speak about why Ashkenazi Jews are just, well, I don't think they're inherently smarter than anyone, to tell you the truth. I think they just have a different set of incentives.
Jimmy, are you of the belief that everyone's pretty much on even footing genetically, in terms of not like physical, like in terms of athletic ability, but like in terms of the mental?
Yes, depending on the incentives. Not everybody has an incentive to excel in the same way. It's completely reliant on your environment. Like Ashkenazi Jews, because they were Jewish, could not basically generate wealth in a way that Christians could in Europe, and so they were forced into skills or like acquiring skills to generate income, right? And that's why they had a lot of shoemakers, a lot of goldsmiths, like people that were in the gold trade weren't making millions of dollars back then. It's just like, these skills-based jobs. And, when you're not inheriting large swaths of acres where you have serfs working for you, and you're sort of focused on acquiring skills and educational opportunities open up for you, and you're going to take those opportunities so you can earn more income. Now, the legal profession becomes a thing. Now, medicine becomes a thing, a way to earn more income. And so you have, a group of people that were super incentivized to educate themselves to acquire, acquire wealth, essentially. Whereas Sephardic Jews, they're Jewish people as well, they were in the Middle East. It's very different from them. They didn't live in Europe. They didn't have those same set of incentives. So we keep pointing at Ashkenazi Jews as if Ashkenazi Jews represent all Jews, where it's just this subset of Jews that lived amongst people who were very anti-Semitic. And so that's why if you give them an IQ test, because they've come from, generation after generation of educated people, they fare better.
So pretty much, without banking, the Ashkenazi IQ test would score really low.
Well, without a lot.
Something interesting when I did my dive last night on the Freemasons. There's a term I've always heard the term anti-Semitic, but there's another term anti-Masonic or anti-Masonic. I've never heard that term before. It's like anti-Freemasons, which apparently was a big thing like in the 1800s and 1900 or something. Like, it was like more of a big deal than I've like never even heard of that nowadays.
Yeah, people like to think Freemasons are like some whatever. I have a bunch of family who are Freemasons. My ancestor was.
I think they used to be a big deal. I don't think they are anymore.
Yeah,
which is probably why nobody cares.
There was a place. It was like.
Yeah, but that used to matter a lot back in the day, Jimmy.
Yeah, way back in the day. It didn't matter which lodge. So it didn't matter that you were a Freemason. That didn't matter. It mattered which lodge, because during the Civil War, Freemasons killed each other, fam. Like, you know what I mean? Like, during the Haitian Revolution, Freemasons killed each other. You have Haitian Freemasons that were fighting French Freemasons. It was like, so this, like, it's not like a fucking overarching organization where everyone's collaborating. That's all bullshit. It's a fraternity. You get together, and if you want to plot some shit back in the 1700s, that was a very good place to plot some shit.
There's a really interesting intersection with the Nazi regime being anti-Masonic, and they went to all the lodges in France, and they like captured all the archives and stuff, and that was there's like an hour-and-a-half documentary about just how the Nazis were. There's one leader of the Nazis that were convinced that the cult Freemasons were like in charge of all this kind of stuff and around the world, and they're trying to prove it, and they apparently went to like over 100 lodges, got all the records and sent them on trains, like back to like a central archive in Poland or something. And this documentary was kind of nuts. It's on Netflix. I think it might be on YouTube. Anyways, it's funny. I'm so stupid. I thought the Freemasons was mainly in America, the U.S. And then I'm like, oh no, Freemasons like definitely didn't just like travel to America and like leave Europe. Like it flourished apparently in Europe as well. And then I also learned, Jimmy, there's a black lodge only for black people.
Prince Hall.
Yeah, and then they don't tell you there's the Scottish Rite branches of Freemasons, and then there's a Pike version or something. And the Scottish Rite, because the Scottish Rite has all the hospitals and stuff. They have like 33 levels of ascension in their Freemasonry, and after the first 3 levels, what'd you say? Degrees. Yeah. After the first 3 degrees, it's like totally secret. Like they don't keep any of that public. You're just supposed to go to Alex Jones to get your information pretty much at that point. Like because everything's pretty much sealed lip at that point. But they
don't seem like a very fascinating. They don't seem like a very exclusive club because I've met a lot of dudes who are Freemasons who are 100% losers.
100%, yes.
You have to get voted in by the lodge, like the lodge here.
So, like the lodge you come from is very, very important.
Yes, right.
Right. So, like some lodges are super prestigious, and then you have to get voted in.
Bro, the one in Las Vegas ain't shit. I'll tell you that. Because the guys I met from here tell me they're Masons. I'm like, dude, I wouldn't trust you to make waffles. Yeah.
What degree did they say? What degree Masons they were?
I don't pay attention to that dumb shit.
No, but it's interesting because it's like there's so many damn levels, dude. There's 33 levels or something on the Scottish Rite branch.
Jimmy, one that's legit is I do have a family friend whose father is in the Bohemian Grove. That one's legit. The people in the Bohemian Grove are serious people.
Is that a lodge though, Huddle?
No, it's not a Freemason thing. It's its own thing. If you want some real Alex Jones conspiracy shit, Google Bohemian Grove.
I know that they burned the big ass owl. I know a little bit about Bohemian Grove because of Alex Jones, but that's about it.
Yeah.
But
it's really basically. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I just figure that a lot of this Freemason society, secret society, fraternity within fraternity type stuff is probably like interlinked and intersects with Bohemian Grove stuff.
My buddy's dad was telling me about going to Bohemian Grove, and he was like, yeah, there was this guy I was talking to there, smart guy. He owned like all of the Wetzel's pretzels in California. Man, what was his name? He was like Andrew something. And he was like, Andrew, fuck, what was it? And then he was like, oh, Andrew Wetzel. That was his name. I was like, oh, you're talking to the guy who owns Wetzel's pretzels.
That's fucking funny, man.
Like, no, Andrew Wetzel is an occultist.
So, as someone that got tapped for society, right? This is what I learned. Because when I was at university, because you get these memberships. So once you're in the society, you get this membership. You could join a union club. It's just all this shit. You know what I found out now that I'm older? It's just a way for people to misbehave and be protected. You're in these clubs. You're cheating on your wife. You're doing lines of coke, and you're get in trouble because you trust that the guys that are around you are all in the same, have the same thing to lose, if that makes sense. It's like if niggas are not getting together to rule the world, they're doing gay shit, and they don't want the shit to get back to their wife.
Totally, dude. That was my perception of Bohemian Grove. And by the way, Richard Nixon went to Bohemian Grove once because it was in San Francisco back when he was in politics up in that region or whatever. And he was like, it was the goddamn faggiest thing I ever saw in my life. Goddamn faggot. There's like a clip you can see of Nixon saying that. And like, dude, it's weird. Like, it's all dudes, and people do wander around in the woods like naked and stuff. Like, it's pretty gay.
They're doing. That's all it is. So if anybody there ain't no conspiracy. They're doing shit that they don't want to hit the news and get back to their wives. That's all.
Yo, I actually have I have a patch. My buddy got me a patch from Bohemian Grove, and it has Moloch the owl on it and everything. Let me see if I can have a picture of it in my camera roll. I don't know what the whole thing with the Moloch is.
How do these niggas like to rap shit around tradition? It's all retarded.
Yeah.
We need to take this shit seriously, fam. Nonsense. Because I remember, like, in the society, you get the emails, you got all of these fucking, because they're all dying, by the way, like, all the biggest club in New York is Union, right? They're fucking dying. Nobody young wants to join. Nobody young thinks it's worth it. So, there was a major recruiting effort, and, like, two of the guys in the society was gay, and they ended up dating these 60-year-old fucking, like, super wealthy, like, guys got grandchildren, like, dating these niggas. And I'm like, this is what this is about.
Oh, I found it. Okay, check it out. This is the patch my buddy brought back from Bohemian Grove. Look at it. It's creepy. It's got the American flag and the fucking Moloch, the owl god.
They need better craftsmanship. They should have hired Ling Wing or some shit.
Ling. No, don't you know, bro? On Fiverr nowadays, it's some guy named Ubuntu who's pretending to be a girl named Brittany from Dallas. And you're like, hey man, you can just tell me where you really are. And he's like, no, it's Brittany from Dallas. It's okay.
So what's the story behind Moloch exactly? It's like some pagan tradition, you said?
I have no idea, honestly.
The owl is supposed to be just a symbol for wisdom, but their like main slogan is weaving spiders come out here.
Right.
Basically, like,
it's on the gate outside. Crypto, you probably know people who've been.
I've been.
Oh yeah, you've been. That's right.
Yep.
I
think
we have a Bohemian Grover in the chat.
I think the gay stuff. I didn't see any, but I think just sheer numbers with proximity to San Francisco, there's probably a couple of the 10 kids down.
Did they make you wear blindfolds, Crypto?
No blindfolds, no gay stuff.
How do you get invited in, Crypto?
I have family members that are members, but this particular time was like through a friend who has a family member there too. It's basically like guys that want to go fuck around and get weekends away from the wives.
No, this is exactly what I said.
Yeah.
Are there any like presentations or anything, or all hands assemblies?
Yeah, there are talks. I think back in the day it was a lot more like pointed, and but there's gonna be like people that branch off and do their own talks too. If there's like some world leaders and shit, but the stuff that I saw was, like members of the Grateful Dead were playing music. There were talks about special interest type stuff, like more.
Did you go? Now there's two. Did you go to the Spring Jinx or the other one?
Yeah, Spring Jinx.
Yeah. That's the lesser one. They let the people like you or me in there, but they wouldn't let like you in like the real one. Which is in October, I think.
Yeah, for invitees.
Speaking
I think the October one is where they sacrifice the young virgins. Yeah.
Speaking of October, TapConf, October 13th in Atlanta, Georgia. You don't have.
Oh, he never stops selling. He never stops, ladies and gentlemen. The hardest working man in Bitcoin tech.
Yeah,
I like it.
My friend that's spying on us right now, he's listening, and he says Moloch's in the Hebrew Bible.
So it's a Jewish thing.
I knew the Jews were involved somehow.
Bro, I woke up to all these texts of people being like, Bitcoin's taking a run at 100K. And then I got up and it was like 98, and I was like, you fucking liars, fuck yeah.
How was the pie hodl?
Don't tell me it was gross. Don't tell me it's taking a run unless we're at 99 and some shit. Okay?
99.9.
I was taking a run on 98, 200.
I don't want to hear like 99.5.
$99.9.
Dude, the turkey fucking came out amazing. Amazing. I put a little too much seasoning on the outside, so it was a little more blackened than I would like. So for like pictures, it didn't look as good as you would want it to. But the taste was fucking amazing. It was so good. Like, oh my god, just excellent, dude. I'm gonna do that every year in the tallow from now on. It was funny. Me and RFK had the same exact setup. I bought that same tallow. I bought that same thing off Amazon, the turkey cooker, but we had the same setup. But yeah, dude, the tallow fried turkey was fucking good. And like the little girls who like normally we can't get them to eat shit like turkey or whatever, they all like gobbled it up, pun intended.
Awesome. Yo, what kind of tallow though?
Just regular tallow. Beef tallow.
Alright.
Yeah.
No Wagyu with the fuck bottle. All right, next year.
No, I didn't do. Listen, hey, maybe if Bitcoin moves in order of magnitude, we'll do Wagyu beef tallow. But for right now, regular beef tallow is fine. Yeah, dude, Wagyu beef tallow would cost me like $1,000. Like this, as it was, it cost me like $300 for the proper amount of tallow.
Please don't scroll. Please don't scroll. I'm just trying to consider.
Wait, what?
Please don't scroll.
It was good though. It was really good. Really fucking tasty.
And was the tallow more than the turkey?
Yes. Yes, by a lot. By a lot. I think the turkey was only like $50 or something. And the tallow was like $300. Yeah. Dude, that's my new favorite method though. And I'd never fried a turkey before. It comes out perfect when you fry a turkey. Like if you just do it for the right amount of minutes at the right temp, it's like perfect. The only thing I fucked up on was I used too much seasoning. That was my bad. Next year I'm gonna go light on seasoning, or maybe none at all.
What seasoning?
It's kind of like a good kind of terse, because it's just on the outside, right? It's just the skin that has the seasoning.
Yeah. I did like a Cajun style recipe, which was really tasty. It just didn't come out with that picture I was looking for, you know.
Get Brittany from Fiverr to doctor up the photos and post.
Yeah, I could do that. It was fucking good though, man. Really good. And my wife made all the sides, like all the sides were seed oil free, obviously. It was a fucking delicious seed oil.
Make America great again. I'm fucking up these leftovers right now, big boy.
Oh, leftover turkey sandwich, bro, on Friday. It's the shit. When I was a kid, we used to go to my grandparents, and they lived in the Midwest, and it would be freezing cold, you know. And so we would take all the leftovers and just stick them in the garage. And my grandfather would just like put them on his like workbench. So we would like go out to like fucking make like some turkey leftovers, and it'd just be like the turkey would be sitting right next to some like fucking Pennzoil motor oil shit, and you'd be like, all right, I'm gonna eat this anyway, like fucking whatever. It was good times. And then the other move we did was we put all the booze in a snowbank, and then when you wanted booze, like other family members would be like, I'm going to the bank. And people would be like, you making a deposit or a withdrawal? And then be like, withdraw, and be like, oh, can you get me to like Goose Islands or whatever? Thank you. It's good times. But that garage turkey, bro, it hits different.
Oliver, I consumed your content for the first time on YouTube, and apparently you have a friend that likes Dogecoin.
What were you watching?
Something. I was watching YouTube, and then your short came up. It just came up. I was like, oh, I know this guy. I'm gonna watch this. And it was you in the car talking about people calling you about shitcoins or something.
Oh, funny. Is that getting a lot of views?
I mean, it came up on my feed. I'm not sure how, so. You're doing something right.
That's actually from last cycle. I didn't, by the way, I don't put out any of my own shit to YouTube or whatever, obviously. I just I think I posted that video to Twitter back in the day.
Maybe I'm thinking of Twitter then. Maybe it was a Twitter short I'm talking about.
Somebody could have put it up on YouTube for sure. There's a couple of vids of me floating around that people like to repost. There's like the one where I'm screaming over the price chart. There's the one where I'm in the car. There's the one where I'm on Peter McCormick's show. And then there's the one where I'm on Walker's show. All those are like viral.
Dude, you sound, one of them, you sound like freaking Max Kaiser.
Oh, that's the price chart one. Yeah. I may have been channeling Max a little bit.
I don't remember it being about the price chart. I just remember you just like saying, and then we're gonna go this, and then it's gonna take over.
Yeah. It's just me screaming over the chart in my wife's car. By the way, you know what's funny? That one got reposted on a bunch of Instagram pages lately, and it has like a lot of views, like on Instagram, weirdly. And a bunch of people were commenting, being like, "Yo, this dude was right. He was right." It's so funny.
That is legit. I'm not gonna lie. My favorite piece of Bitcoin content ever. Nothing is more retarded and logical all at the same time.
Exactly. That's the special nature of Bitcoin content.
You do an updated version.
Go into seven figures.
I like the director's cut.
Oh, well, I was updating the meme that already existed with the dude where he goes, you know, this one time Bitcoin went to $20 and then it crashed, and then this one time it went to here and then it crashed. Like basically my version is an updated version of that meme. So maybe somebody else will do the next meme, you know.
It's gonna be sad when it crashes under 7 figure, dude.
Yeah, I know. Bitcoin's gonna go from $1 million to fucking 200K, and we're gonna be like fucking crying, just like in pain, you know.
I think it's inevitable. We're just gonna be pricing. People are gonna be talking about sats. I think it's like the inevitability of the next generation of Bitcoiners. Like in terms of, you know, we're talking about whole Bitcoins and half Bitcoin, whatever, millions of Bitcoins. It's just going to be, or millions of sats. The stock split. Wow. It's just going to be like a million sats, you know, is going to be like the new cool kind of idea.
Yeah, when Bitcoin is, you know, whatever. I mean, already now it's out of reach. The average can't get their hands on any Bitcoin. The average person, bro, does not have $98,000 in cash lying around. And if they did, they would spend it on a home down payment instead of Bitcoin, you know? So,
a $500,000 house right now, 20% down.
This is why I think there needs to be a Bitcoin layaway program where, like, some company is selling you a full Bitcoin now, but you, like, have to make the payments on it plus interest, but you have the full Bitcoin, you know?
Yeah, that's what my grandmother used to do, all the sitting Bitcoin. Like, earn real yield on it.
Because think about it, people will buy $100,000 cars. Like, I go to the gym parking lot, and, like, every car costs $100,000. It's crazy. And there's so many. I mean, I'm in a nice area and whatever, but, like, you see $100,000 cars all the time, and people are paying those off over the course of, like, 5 years. So why not do the same thing with a Bitcoin?
When would you take ownership of that Bitcoin if you're doing layaway?
At the end.
So then there's no risk to the lender.
How do I think
well, the risk is that Yeah, the risk is that you don't pay it back. That's the risk.
No, but what I'm saying is if they don't get the Bitcoin until
don't
the
give you the
end of
Bitcoin.
their loan,
Yeah.
then they keep the collateral. So I think my understanding of normal layaway is you get the thing that you want up front and then you pay it off over time. So this would be like I'm just
using layaway as shorthand here. Like,
no, but it's an interesting idea to lock in the price.
A multi-sig, and then give them like a fake Bitcoin.
Well, I'm just saying, like, it's an interesting idea
to pay it off.
Right, to lock in a price and then say, hey, I'm going to pay interest on the opportunity to pay you monthly for collecting sats at this price. I want to lock it in and pay you interest. I think that's interesting. I don't know if anyone's doing that.
That's a good idea.
And then if Bitcoin goes below the price point, let's say it goes to 70K and you want to cancel out this contract, you just pay a penalty fee where you don't collect your last couple payments of sats that you were going to get in the last month or something. Like, you hold a couple months of sats maybe as collateral to make sure you keep making these payments. But then if the price dips down, you might want to keep paying them because it might jump back up. So it might be an interesting opportunity, right?
And that is actually how layaway worked. It was a Christmas planning thing or whatever. So people would like make a down payment at the beginning of the year and pay monthly, and then they would get it at the end of the year when they paid it.
Yeah, but they would get the presents for Christmas up front.
No.
Can you imagine?
They would pay it off throughout the year.
At the end. Yeah.
Wait,
there's financing. There's all kinds of other financing, but layaway was specifically that you get it.
It's like going to you're laying it away for later.
Yeah, they had a platform where they like put everything.
Yeah.
David, do I have this backwards, David? David, I thought layaway was Christmas is coming around the corner. It's November, and you're going to buy stuff on layaway, which means you can buy.
Never.
They don't give it to you.
No, man, you think buy now, pay later.
Buy now, pay later is the new version of layaway, and that's how the new version.
So when I was
product today and pay for it.
By the way, layaway is not a credit product. So, like, if you stopped laying it away, you could go back to them and be like, "I want my money back," and they would just give you your money back.
Wait, so when I was
minus some fees or whatever.
I was helping implement in QA layaway at NCR with Hobby Lobby, and when we set it up, my understanding of the process was they essentially it would be more of a credit
people
thing.
may have reused the name and done it for credit or whatever too. But this is what layaway
we're talking about. What we're talking about is the original version of layaway, like from the 70s and 80s. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so I had a skewed, maybe modern NCR point of sale impression of it then.
What you guys were doing is called buy now, pay later. Although people may have been using the term layaway to describe it.
We definitely were using that term, so that's why I'm confused.
Mm. They now call that buy now, pay later. That's what it's called.
Yeah, but
by the way, it's a hugely popular.
How are they guaranteeing the person would keep paying if you gave them the product?
For layaway?
No, for his thing.
Oh.
For my
they're not. There's risk. There's credit risk, and they're underwriting the individuals. And so, yeah, a firm is like the big company that does it.
It's a buy now, pay later is a hugely popular space in fintech. There are a lot of companies doing it.
Yeah, it's like Klarna and all those.
Yeah. No, but I mean, probably not that many people in the room are using these products. Like, is anybody using these products? Probably not, right? But like, for normal people, they're hugely popular products.
Yeah, no, I tested it out once. But
one of them IPO'd. It was like multi-billion-dollar valuation. I was shocked.
I'm saying like one of our largest like debit payments. And the annoying thing about a firm is so when a merchant puts through a charge, they can put whatever merchant name they want. So this lets like Microsoft put through a charge that says like Xbox Live or whatever, so you don't get confused. Like you just say Microsoft. But a firm puts their like contract numbers into everything, so like they just have like like over 1 million different like merchant names for a firm. It's literally like every single customer contract they like just put the little thing in the merchant names.
Yeah, I think it was a firm that I was talking about. They IPO'd in 2021. Their market cap right now is like $22 billion.
I think they do vacations. It's like a firm, but for vacations. Very popular. I can't remember the name of it.
So would there be any, going back to layaway, where you get the item at the end of all your payments, and maybe I'm just an idiot and confused, so ignore what I said earlier, but the idea of doing this with Bitcoin, do you think there would be appetite to do this where you would lock in price points and then still charge zero interest, or do you think you would have to still...
It sounds like Bitcoin price lock, my idea in 2022 that Michael tried to...
Wait, Michael who?
The problem with the Bitcoin layaway thing is when people get underwater on their Bitcoin, they're gonna stop paying.
Right. It's when the Bitcoin price moves away from you, they're going to default at that point, and so like those, interact negatively.
No, but that's positive for the that's positive, David, for the person holding the Bitcoin.
If they've paid enough that it covers, what the difference is or whatever. But like, if you didn't own the Bitcoin before, right? Like you went out and paid $98,000 today for a Bitcoin. And then someone, made a 20% down payment, and they've paid, but then Bitcoin crashes 50%. You paid 98K, you've got a 47K Bitcoin, and you only got 25K.
You gotta collateralize the Bitcoin with their credit.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, you'll go after their credit. Yeah.
Wait, David, no, I'm saying that the lender would keep the Bitcoin, like a normal layaway, like what we're talking about.
Yeah, no, they have the Bitcoin. I'm just saying, but they have a $47,000 Bitcoin, and they only got paid $20K from the person. So they spent $98K to now have a $47K Bitcoin and some amount of money. And so they lost money on that at that point. Now, if they hold it forever and the Bitcoin goes back up, then they're okay. Yeah, but if they're doing quarterly reports to investors or whatever, it's going to look like they've just lost a shit.
Yeah. Well, what I'm thinking more is you have a 98K Bitcoin price. You lay away a Bitcoin for 100K, and you collect the 2K premium. You lock in your 2K premium. So instead of selling right now, let's say you want to dissolve yourself of a Bitcoin, instead you get a 2K premium, sell for 100K, and you do this you have a buyer lay away it, and then if they end up going underwater, not being able to, end up buying this Bitcoin from you, you just keep the Bitcoin.
Can't you just buy the option?
Maybe this is just options. I don't know. Maybe I'm just explaining options with more steps.
Like the idea I had was like, for example, this was back when Bitcoin was like 25K. I was saying you can sell the Bitcoin at 50,000 and then have them do monthly payments, but then you'll get like a freaking hedge fund or whatever to buy the Bitcoin at spot at 25. Sell like a 20% guaranteed like profit on it, and then if like the person buying the Bitcoin, you'd have it in a multi-sig and then tie it to their credit, so they're more incentivized to pay. If they don't pay, you can just sell the debt to another company and get some of that money back, and on top of that you still have the Bitcoin. And then you just mark up the Bitcoin over spot, like 20% over spot, 30% over spot. In fiat terms, that's great returns. In Bitcoin terms, they basically get a discount in, 4-year term or whatever.
Tidwell's idea of this is good too, though, where there's sellers that would take a premium for the cash flow, the future cash flow, opposed to, selling right now for the current market price, right? So if you have somebody like Bitcoin Tina, for example, that's, going to get shaken out of his position either way, he could take a premium on the sale. Now that premium has to be balanced with the buyer's ability to pay it into the future, the cash flow future, but you're pretty much just arbitraging the buy and the sell. And then, you can even arbitrage the credit facilities. You don't actually need to provide credit, so there's no downside risk for you. You can offload that credit to somebody else. You find a bank that's willing to give the person the credit, and if the price does move to the downside, it doesn't affect you negatively at all because you're just arbitraging.
Yeah, just middleman it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the real play.
But I think there might be something where you would want to maybe prevent a big tax liability, where you would want to say, hey, I don't want to take all this money all at once as well, maybe. So there might be an idea, let's say Bitcoin goes to $1 million and I want to sell this Bitcoin over 4 years or whatever, 5 years. Just just thinking like as like a cash flow. And then if Bitcoin goes higher, I've already locked in my stuff, no problems because I'm still, potentially doing that tax advantage kind of idea. And then if it goes lower, then my risk appetite is just, okay, well then I'll just hodl the Bitcoin and then do another premium contract on top maybe. But I think Jimmy, when he says, isn't this just options, like a call option? I think it is just with the idea that you could produce cash flow for the person lending the option to buy. So I think it's just a weird call option. I think Jimmy sort of was like, isn't this just options? I think he's right. It's just a different type of call option maybe.
With options, you don't own one Bitcoin at the end of it.
Well, no, I'm talking about like a hypothetical call option for one Bitcoin. Well, I'm just saying, like, because Jimmy said, isn't this just options? And I'm just like thinking, well, maybe this is just options with more steps and a different way of.
Because when let's say you want to buy the option for Bitcoin at a particular price, then you don't have to buy a Bitcoin essentially.
Right. But the only difference, Jimmy, that I think is this would be something where instead of the option expiring and then it's like, okay, well now you need to either decide if you're going to buy or sell. You would be vesting and buying this over time, so you would be more incentivized to maybe complete that option at the end if you already have enough equity, unless Bitcoin goes to zero and then you're like, fuck, buy Bitcoin.
At a certain point. So I guess, would you have to buy like a new option every year, depending on where the market's at?
Yeah, options is more complicated because it can move against.
Well, we're talking about mitigating the risk as somebody who's offering this financial product, right? I think that's the way you mitigate the risk, because
you mitigate the risk by having a multi-sig, and if they don't pay, you just keep your Bitcoin.
No, but you have huge capital exposure, man. It's ridiculous. You're holding it back. No, what are you fucking talking about? These people have to pay you, fam.
Okay, and if they don't, what happens?
You're holding the bag, my guy. What do you mean? What happens? You go bankrupt, my nigga.
You're holding Bitcoin. What are you talking about?
What do you mean you think that solves the fucking problem? You're right.
Bro, if you hold, like, for example, let's say you have a stack of 1,000 Bitcoin, right?
Whatever, bro.
If you listen. If you have a stack of 1,000 Bitcoin,
30%
and you're
30% of the people default, you fucked. That's it. Doesn't matter.
No, you keep your Bitcoin and you sell this debt to another company. You profit.
Oh yeah, sell the debt, and now the person. So how much money are you selling the debt for?
Doesn't matter. You own the Bitcoin.
Oh no. You seem to know how this works. So you think you're selling the debt for equal the debt's value? So look, when somebody defaults, usually somebody's buying that debt for pennies on the fucking dollar in hopes to collect, my nigga. You're fucked, my guy.
I'm not talking about fiat. I'm not talking about fiat loans.
Yeah, of course, you must talk about fiat because you're getting paid in fiat for this Bitcoin.
I'm talking about Bitcoin. If I do a multi-sig for one Bitcoin with somebody else,
somebody's
and
paying
they don't
you in
pay,
dollars,
and in the contract, if they don't pay, I keep my Bitcoin.
Lee, think through this. You're getting paid in fiat. There's a fiat price of $90,000 Bitcoin, right? You're now sitting on $90,000 Bitcoin. Bitcoin goes down, person stops paying. What next? You sell the debt for how much?
You keep your Bitcoin. It's a multi-sig.
Keep the Bitcoin. So how do you pay for the Bitcoin?
What?
How do you pay for the Bitcoin? It's not like you had the money yourself. Somebody's backing you. So you must think.
It's a different scenario. Me and you are arguing two different scenarios.
You must think as a company, right? So look, if let's say Tidwell offers a service, the money for the Bitcoin is not coming from Tidwell's pocket. That's not how it works. In the same way that when a bank issues a loan, it's not coming from the bank. Do you understand that? They're getting a loan for that. They're getting the money from elsewhere. So Tidwell acquires this Bitcoin. Tidwell owes money. And so when you default and he sells this loan.
Yeah, we're arguing two different scenarios. The setup you have is more risk. What I'm saying is, in the contract, it's a multi-sig. If the person defaults, it goes like they lose that. It's like basically like a house, right? If the bank owns the house, you stop paying, the house goes back to the bank.
Tidwell's talking about the business. right? So the business of it, meaning when Tidwell, before the multi-sig, the money has to come from somewhere to acquire this Bitcoin. Where does it come from? It's not coming from VCs. VCs don't give you enough money to acquire 100,000 Bitcoin.
No. That's what I'm saying. You have to find a company that, for example, puts up $10 million, right? And you guarantee them a 20% return.
It's a bank,
for
a fairly
example,
large bank.
Or not guarantee, but there's many banks. 10 million is nothing.
No, so there's going to be a fairly large bank that gives Tidwell a loan to acquire this Bitcoin. And so there's two loans: Tidwell's loan and the person paying Tidwell to at this layaway whatever thing. So there's two loans. Now the customer defaults. What happens to Tidwell?
Nothing.
They bought. Hold on, right quick, right? The $10 million, you buy Bitcoin with it for that company. Okay? If the customer defaults, that company still owns that Bitcoin. And they own the debt that customer defaulted on.
The company isn't exposed to Bitcoin. See, the bank gave you money to acquire this Bitcoin.
No. It's according to the contract. That's what I'm saying. It's according to the contract.
So Tidwell owns the Bitcoin. You have to be clear about this, because if Bitcoin goes down to 46,000, his loan is still 90.
Yeah.
He already bought it at 90.
Yeah, so he can't
even sell Bitcoin.
Listen, the loan is for like, let's say 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever the hell it is. He's still going to come back. And even if Bitcoin goes down, it's going to come back in 4 years.
And you think that he can still service the loan while people are defaulting, let's say at a 30% rate? No, my man Tidwell goes bankrupt, my guy.
No. That's what I'm saying. He can't lend out more money. He can't lend out more Bitcoin than he has, right? So if he borrows 10 million, he can only buy, let's say, $100
million worth of Bitcoin. I understand that.
Yeah, he only has 100 Bitcoin.
But then he has to service that debt. And so whatever that interest rate is, he has to service that the whole way through. And so there's a point in which too many people default at once. See, the thing about people that do things on layaway is they don't really got money like that, fam. And so if they're paying in pieces, then they're the most customers to when macro events happen. They lose a job.
You gotta attach it to the credit. So
yeah,
you're not gonna
you attach it to the credit, my guy. Like
one second. You're not gonna approve people that have a fucking like 610 credit score. You only approve people that have like a 700 credit score.
Yeah,
right?
people.
So it's less likely.
But look at how retarded. You know how small that pool is. So anybody that has the financial, how do I say this? People with more money have better credit. Full stop. On average, people with more money they don't need this service.
It's not about need.
No, they do. I think they do.
No DCA, son. They don't need this.
Bro, it's just like buying a $50,000 car. It's like building a $50,000 car.
People with more money would be more likely to DCA themselves to a Bitcoin than use a layaway service and pay interest, because that's fucking retarded. That's someone with less money. This product is for people that have less money.
Incorrect.
Okay, whatever. Okay, cool, sure.
Dude,
yeah.
If they do DCA, for example, if you do DCA for one Bitcoin right now, you basically have to pay like $2,000 a week, and then get it.
You don't have to pay $2,000 a week. You can go.
No, I'm just saying, like for example, right? And then Bitcoin is like the Bitcoin price is gonna get away from you. It's gonna go up from $2,000 a week to $2,100, $2,300, $2,500. Majority of America can't pay that.
You think people with financial acumen, they care about the growth? How is it growing? They don't give a fuck about their unit, how much Bitcoin they have. It's like, hey man, am I growing 20? Am I growing 30%? Then fine. Like this becomes asinine.
Yeah, but that gives the reason. If you know that the growth to the upside is going to outperform the credit, then it's a good idea. Like taking credit to buy Bitcoin is a very reasonable idea for people with significant amounts of money, especially if they know that servicing it with cash flow is going to be capable in perpetuity. What Lee is saying is if you get that same amount and Bitcoin runs away on you, Bitcoin goes to $1 million, you ain't DCAing to Bitcoin anymore if you don't have the ability to do it. But if you took a loan to buy one Bitcoin right now, and you know that you can service that debt, then you know no matter what happens to the price, you're going to be able to end up with the one Bitcoin, because that's what the loan amount is for. This is what Michael Saylor is doing, except in a massive scale. That's what converts are.
right? He's taking a loan to buy the Bitcoin right now because he believes in the upside greater than he believes in the debt financing, right? Like, this is the whole strategy. It's just taking what Michael Saylor is doing in corporate and bringing it down to a retail scale level where you're paying an interest rate for a loan to buy Bitcoin now instead of buying it across some period of time into the future where you're likely going to pay more because of the price appreciation versus the interest.
Yeah, so basically, you're saying like people are gonna do for example, when Bitcoin was at 50,000, it's like the people that are buying Mercedes, if they default, like you still got Mercedes, you know what I mean? And the same thing at 100,000, you price it according to the credit score. Like, you're not gonna sell it to the 610 credit score.
Lee, it doesn't matter. You arbitrage the credit. Like the whole entire play here is if somebody's actually going to build this business is if the Bitcoin crashes, it doesn't affect business at all, right? They might get turned upside down in their position and they might stop paying the loan. You didn't give them the loan. You arbitrage the loan, right? And you can still maintain custody of the Bitcoin so that if they do get turned upside down and they stop paying it, well, you end up with the Bitcoin. So they're still on the hook for that loan regardless of if they have the Bitcoin or not. And you have the Bitcoin as collateral if they stop paying the loan. It's win-win.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's basically risk-free. But, I mean, even in the scenario where, like, you got to find another company to, like, put up the money or whatever, like, it's still less risk for you because according to the contract, if they default on it, you keep whatever Bitcoin that was there and whatever payment they made. You can just do it according to the contract.
You just need to underwrite it properly and mitigate your risk by passing off the loan to somebody else. It's basically like getting them a credit card and buying the Bitcoin for them, and you're not the person who they owe the money to. Like, you might service the debt collection and the debt repayments for them, but if you're arbitraging the loan and you're arbitraging the position, like, there is no capital risk there for you if you can set it up in that nature. I think this is pretty straightforward and it makes absolute sense, and I think that there is a market for it. It's just like, are you going to be able to find those partners that are willing to give loans to people? Are you going to be able to build out the tech of the business? Are you going to be able to build the marketing out? Like, there's a lot that goes into building a business, and this is one that's like, not just simple. It does require a lot of different moving.
And if you are outsourcing this to someone else that's not getting the Bitcoin collateral at all, then it's just going to have to be a crazy interest rate because it's unsecured consumer debt. I mean, it's going to be 14% or whatever that is right now.
Yeah, the idea works better if, the company doing the loan already owns the Bitcoin, right? So, like, if you can convince a fund or whatever to, buy 1,000 Bitcoin and at the same time, get in with this deal, then it'll work better. And then you just middleman the thing. Like, you're not responsible for the customer paying or not.
Are you guys talking about collateralized Bitcoin loan?
Or about Bitcoin on layaway. Buy Bitcoin, buy a whole Bitcoin for the current price. You make some down payment, and then you're going to pay, whatever, weekly, monthly for a couple of years.
Whoa. It's buy it at a slight premium. Come on now.
Buy Bitcoin at $22,000 2026 price, and then receive it in 2028 or whatever.
Well, the example I was using is buy a Bitcoin now for 100K, but now you'll be able to be a whole coiner at the end of like a 4 or 5 year period or whatever, you know, I don't know, it just for someone who needs cash flow. The whole idea of the person lending out the Bitcoin would also go into debt, I wasn't considering originally, Jimmy. It was more just someone wanted to produce cash flow for themselves, like a, I guess, not standardizing it as like a business. But I guess what's interesting is you should think of it as a business, because if you couldn't make the model work as a business, you probably should not be doing it as an individual, which is an interesting way of thinking about it.
Yeah, if you open it up, you know, to the public, like let's say you got 10 Bitcoin and you wanted to earn a yield on one of those 10 Bitcoins. So you get into a multi-sig with somebody else that wants to lock in the price of the Bitcoin. You mark it up at 30%. I think you could do it.
Well, I think for small amounts of money, when I say small, I mean like less than $1 million worth of Bitcoin. I think, you know, when we're talking about individuals and not like some kind of crazy, you know, tens and hundreds of millions plus kind of, you know, ideas here that people are managing. I think a DLC marketplace, right? This might be kind of what you're getting at, Lee, is some sort of like, hey, this is the oracle that's going to determine whether or not you've been making payments and whether you get, you know, they make their signature as part of this multi-sig. And the fucking thing for the buyer is, how the fuck do you trust this? You know what I mean? Like, how the fuck, like, you know, versus DCAing is way more, I guess you could say, predictable and understandable for a buyer, versus this like layaway thing where it's like at the end of it, you have to trust this multi-sig.
Yep.
Yeah, but then, I mean, you could get an Oracle service, right? Like for instance, the company model, right? Here, like for me, I could just say, hey, I want to make a DLC thing where the company itself, Tidwell, uses his public reputation as his collateral to be the oracle of these systems, where he just signs messages on whether or not he sees on-chain transactions going through, and he verifies that these TXIDs are actual payments, or sorry, not TXIDs. I don't know. I guess how the fuck would you do it? You'd have to share bank records with me or something?
I guess you can do like a multi-sig of 3 people, you, the website owner, is the third party, the first,
right,
the second party.
But then to prove payments, I would need to like integrate with like Plaid or I don't know, some like, I would need to like verify ACH or wires or something, right?
You can have the payments done.
Yeah, but there is like there's an open banking thing where there is going to be a lot more access for that stuff starting next year. There's a open banking law that requires banks to give access to a bunch of the data.
Okay, well then, I think the just verifying the Venmo payments, the PayPal payments, the banking payments.
Yo, Tidwell, if you made them pay in Tether, can you do that?
Well, whatever method, I would just need to verify that those payments are going through and that the receiver agrees that he's receiving the money. And then that would be like the job and the goal of the Oracle, is to every month verify that the payment was made and it was made in a satisfactory way, you know?
I mean, I'm pretty sure you could automate it, like, you know, just have a wallet with Tether and Bitcoin. The Bitcoin is a multi-sig. The Tether goes to the loaner, and then, you know, they're making payments monthly. If they start making payments 3 times, you know, the multi-sig releases the Bitcoin back to the original owner.
I mean, I was thinking of like a generic payment method, but if you made it in a way where you could like automate it, where it's like, hey, you have to use one of these like 3 ways of payments, and you have automation set up around all 3 of them, whether it be stable coins or ACH kind of verification, whatever the fuck. Like, I think the only thing the Oracle does then is just deal with disputes, right?
I mean, Why would there be a dispute?
Well, the dispute would be, hey, I made this tether payment, or I made this payment to satisfy the terms of the layaway for this month's payment, but the receiver is saying I didn't receive it, and then now you have to fucking investigate and be like, well, okay, what the fuck happened?
It's an automated system, and you're the third party, so you'll be able to see all the transactions on there.
And automated systems never have any problems.
I'm just talking about the situation where people disagree on what's going on. I mean, I'm not saying like it can't be automated. I'm just saying you would still be providing a service on, disputes. I think it's inevitable to have people disagree, even if you have automation or I don't know. Anyways, it's an interesting idea. It's definitely a distraction from my goal in life, which is to make a Bitcoin video game. But
Came in here and thought I accidentally joined a work call instead of Clubhouse.
Brittany, what you missed is Mohan got pissed at Joseph. We talked about the Freemasons, and we talked about how, depending on your environment, everyone is equal and precious in God's eyes, according to Jimmy, and everyone was in consensus. And then we talked about an idea of layaway, the meaning of layaway, and layaway Bitcoin ideas.
Wow, thank you for that 30-second recap.
Sounds like a typical day in Clubhouse. Start with conspiracies and, end up with a religious
More
discussion.
conspiracies.
Andrew, the thing that I wasn't ready for today, that wasn't on my bingo card, was Mohan rage quitting over Joseph.
That's always, look, 100% Mohan.
That's not atypical, to be honest with you.
It's not atypical, exactly. Mohan is the type to take it to the next level. It's just that Joseph is the biggest cunt in all of Clubhouse. And so he's going to rage quit, but he won't rage quit with anyone else. Anyone else? Mohan is definitely tough to argue with.
Right, because I know Joseph and Mohan personally, and I consider them both to be pretty thick-skinned. Not trying to make a pun here,
no, not Mohan.
but
Not Mohan.
but when I interact with Mohan in person, I feel like he has incredibly thick skin. He's making
Mohan's been taking Ozempic, and Joseph has been on some diet Courtney gave. That joke does not apply any longer.
So you're saying that Mohan, even in person with your interaction, Jimmy, has not shown to be thick-skinned?
No, he hasn't. I'm telling you, he hasn't. I've seen it. So he argues, he debates a lot. Fine, but he's not thick-skinned. So, like, there are pressure points for Mohan. Like, Lamar hit a pressure point. Remember, like, and then there was, like, a long time he refused to be a dissent.
Robin and Gold offers
Yeah,
still going on. First 30 days.
I hit a pressure point.
Jimmy, is that the same Lamar that I'm thinking of, or is that Lamar Watson?
Lamar Watson.
Oh, Big Lamar.
No, Watson is small.
Oh, Lamar. Wilson is little. Oh, it's just fucking both that.
He's gonna be pissed.
Lamar hit a pressure point. I hit a pressure point when I wanted to genocide Palestinians. He lost his shit. He was so upset. But, I'm not a total cunt. And so
Where?
Go ahead.
Where is he? I haven't seen him since I've been back on Clubhouse.
He stormed out this morning.
Are you talking about real money?
No, who, Lamar you talking about? Or?
Trying to distinguish Lamar's, and then between the Lamar's, you're like Lamar Mohan.
No, Jimmy, I'm talking about Lamar Watson.
Yeah, he comes in once in a blue. He comes in. Sometimes he comes in and he's quiet. But he got a couple of cigars in.
Jimmy, he got so mad at me once. He just kept telling me to shut the fuck up every single time someone would say anything, and I was on mute for like an hour, and he just kept telling me to shut the fuck up. Does anyone remember that?
He was probably drunk.
Yeah, but he just said, shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up, Tidwell.
Yeah, he definitely had a couple talk-ins in there.
But does anyone remember that from like a year ago when he would just, when I was on mute for like an hour, he thought I kept talking whenever anyone talked?
I think he dropped the N-word.
Yeah, all bets are off with him when he's drunk, for sure.
I think he said you dropped the N-word once, so I think like he's noted that.
I'm not even like sure. I think the only thing I can think of, if he's saying that, which I don't remember, is I probably told him, hey, don't call me that, and I said it, but like I said it like in a way where it's like, well, you're calling me this, don't call me that. And that's the only thing I can think of. But I would never call him that, so I'm not sure like what he's talking about.
Yeah, well, that's an offense here, man. There's this other woman named Kathy, and then her brother did that too. It doesn't end well, but luckily I don't think you dropped the hard R.
I dropped the British Canadian soft A ending.
Yeah.
You know, that's one thing about British people. They don't end any word in ER. Dressa, wada, like, no word can end in ER in the British lingo, the British accent.
So you have to assume this is ER every time.
Yeah, they saved that for the N-word.
You got to, that's so fucking funny. You have to assume they mean the ER version because of the way they talk normally.
Yeah, it's just like in the South. In the South, that's how it is. In the South, they don't pronounce the ER. So, they say it, you know.
What do you mean, Lee?
Oh, fuck, Lee, that is so
They definitely pronounce the ER here.
No, they don't pronounce shit. They go butt-oh, and like, all sorts of weird shit like that. They just like omit like 2 or 3 letters.
Yeah, there's different kinds of southern accents too, right? So there's one that'll say naggle, and there's one that'll say nagger. You know, so
I don't know. They're usually, at least where I live, they're usually pretty specific, and they really try to make sure that you hear that ER. And they say it like it's the first time they've ever said it.
Those are the progressive southerners.
Just got stung by a bee.
Did I rage quit?
Mohan said that nigga.
Hey, did it lose a stinger or no?
Yeah. You ever been stung by a bee as an adult?
That was a Puerto Rican bee. Straight
Oh, I'm
yeah.
into that.
It makes you feel like a real bitch.
Dude, they feel like a nail. It feels like a knife.
It hurts like a
Holy
motherfucker.
shit.
Yeah, they got me this summer, bro.
Well, that's
and it burns.
But the poison is gonna react now with what do you call that? Like a whatever reaction.
Jensen's poisonous blood.
Yeah,
where did it sting you?
On my toe?
Got him.
Ooh, toe.
Oh,
Between the big toe and the toe.
In between the toes?
Oh my god.
In between the toes.
That was definitely Mohan.
That's maniacal, bro.
Well, now you learned it. Grown men shouldn't be wearing flip-flops, nigga.
Start sucking on that toe.
The reason I
Honestly, when it happened, I just realized something. I thought I had stepped on a nail, and then I had like a rusty nail protruding.
Plus me and freelancers on Upwork, I've been able to publish several children's books and build a business that I'm.
What do you mean by immune to their stings?
I don't have a reaction. I've been bitten so much younger. I've developed.
I'm telling you, I don't think there's a reaction going on here, other than it hurts like a motherfucker. I'm expecting my toe to like balloon.
Make sure you pull the stinger out, but
of course
you should have an allergic reaction. It will balloon.
I scraped it off within about 8 seconds of it being there, so I didn't squeeze it. I know how that goes.
So John said the secret to feeling better is you have to take a bath in honey and smoke a blunt. Are you ready to do that?
What is this smother? Like, my wife just called me and told me to put honey on it. What is that about?
I don't know. I just made this up right now.
Again. She wants you to get bitten again. That's why.
Yeah, John said I just made this up. I don't know if that shit's real. I was just trying to get.
Try shining the red light on it. Shine the red light on it. See if that does anything.
I don't have the red light.
Put Michael's laser.
No, the lamp that you have.
Rub a toilet on it.
Get the things that put it on red mode.
I did actually use red light. I also got a very similar in-between toe injury, and I had like 3 days of massive swelling.
Honestly, what might work the best is if you give everybody in the room $1,000 and God will bless you.
Okay, so because they are weak, every time they will have a fight with someone that is stronger, it will not be considered a war, but a genocide of them.
No.
Okay,
so okay. First of all, number one, if
Palestine's on the state.
Okay, for example, if a group of 100 people today went to UK and started like massively killing people and bombing people, what are you gonna do? If you find out that they live in Birmingham, are you gonna bomb the whole Birmingham? No. What you're gonna do is you're gonna send a tactical squad. You're going to fight.
Are you supposed to argue in court at some point? I mean, dude. I'm really trying here with you.
Sorry, I need a break.
Where did he go?
Because I moved him to the listeners because he's a troll. Obviously, he's like
he's not a troll. I think he's really not that like his thought process is not yet developed. Like his claims are like opinions. It's not a war because it's a genocide. Why is it a genocide? Because it's a genocide. Because I said so. Because.
I don't understand. Does he think that Hamas went into Israel with watermelons? Like, how did they kill Israelis?
And I wanted to see this claim that if one side is weak and the other side is strong, it automatically means that it's not a war. So I want to say, for example, what is happening, for example, in Ukraine and Russia. What
things occur that I wasn't intending to occur. I didn't go into the trip looking for those things, but nonetheless, they happened and have, helped me through my life and my troubles and struggles. And Caesar, your mic is off, bro, and it's really loud.
Oh, it's Caesar's.
Sorry about that. You're good. It happens.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that was hectic. That was like trying to have a conversation at a dead show.
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to bring you guys into Christmas night.
So what about this idea that
El Hamsawi, والجهاد الإسلامي يشكلون أكبر كتلة المقاومة. حتى ابن فتح فهو كمان بقاتل بناء على عقيدة دينية. هذا لا يعني إنه ما في مسيحيين وما في ملحدين، أكيد في، بس أنا اللي بقول لك يا إنه هذول عقيدتهم القتالية هي عقيدة قتال في سبيل الله. مش فاهم أنا أنت ليش متضايق من الموضوع يعني؟ مش عاجبك الموضوع؟
لأنه على فكرة يا
كتيبة
صحو يا برنس بدي لك شغلة، عشان هيك قلت برنس كرمال هيك قلت لك من قبل شوي. أنا عندي على فكرة كثير أصحاب ساكنين بجنين، فلسطينيين ساكنين بجنين، وهنيك بتعرف المقاومة كيف بجنين. وحياة الله I have a friend of mine هو ساكن بجنين، وعلى فكرة حكيك اللي انت عم تحكيه ما بيحكي هيك، مع انه مسلم ما بيحكي هيك. انا ولا مرة سامع الشاب ولا مرة سامع الشاب او بنت بفلسطين تحكي بهالطريقة.
لا ما بيحكوا هيك، ما بيحكوا هيك بجنين، ما بيحكوا صح، ما بيحكوا هيك.
بس
with Obatala and I'm surprised that Obatala and Caitlyn actually clashed, but the thing is about Caitlyn is that he wants I guess he wants
onions, and then you put it in a pan and you bake it with all the seasonings. You use Bell's seasoning, and it's unbelievably good. You just get mouthfuls of buttery onion bread, and it's unbelievable.
What is Bell's seasoning?
Come on, you guys.
I'm telling you, you're gonna send Miss
Happy post Thanksgiving, everybody! Joy now.
Mazel tov.
L'chaim, that's a great PTR, beauty. I love your Thanksgiving plate. Was it warm or was it cold? They kick me. This app is so stupid. It's for stupid people, really. I just gotta admit. It really is for low IQ people, but this is why it's fun. If everybody was smart, they wouldn't be here.
И будем откармливать людей пловом, там, всем делами. Я согласен, я за вообще.
А мы как это онлайн?
Freebird, Leonard Skinner.
One that gave me these that allowed me to obtain these perspectives that don't allow the